Travis Wingate. So I'm in the middle of saving the Oaks Prophecy of Second Coming Jesus video for you, and saw that we're past time to check for church news. There really wasn't anything, but because I have done my research and done my study, I can always create a video for you guys to help you explain and get the brand new person who comes to this one video after all these years, after all the thousands of videos. And so, yeah, I can even repeat videos and they'll be new. I can repeat it on the same day and it'll be new. YouTube, you suck. So understand that I am on the church's website. So if my camera freezes, you'll know who to blame. So to start with, I am the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East. Anthropology is about a cultural civilization. It is the umbrella of all scientific fields behind a civilization. It is government, it is religion, it is economy. Every field of science. And I am the foremost. Pretty much I'm the only. The ones who were in the field are dead. And nobody rose up to replace them. It's me now. I am the last anthropologist standing. And so the church news is about Richard Neitzel Hulshoffel. My mom refused to let me study German at the Corona High School. Norco only had French and Spanish. And since everybody was telling me that Spanish is really hard and French is easy because you don't say anything. See, French is just hilarious. So, apparently, he's published lots of books on the reality of Jesus. We'll get to that. It's a long article. I'll try to skim over it as fast as I can. I do not want this to be a long video. The title is Archaeological Insights. Thus why it caught my attention. Because I'm the only and foremost, therefore, anthropologist of the ancient Middle East. Archaeology is my turf, especially of this period, even though the Roman period is what's called classical, not ancient. Anybody who tells you that the Romans or the Greeks were ancient, yeah, they're not very bright. They don't know the subject matter. It is classical period. When you're going into music, classical period is Mozart or classic rock. So yeah, it gets redefined. But in terms of civilizations, the classical period is where people claim that Jesus was, the Romans. So archaeological insights and modern witnesses, yeah, that already fraud. There is no such thing as a modern witness of archaeology. let alone what they are a witness claiming to be of, Easter and Christ's resurrection. Yeah, I know they're lying automatically. Witness has to do with the court of law definition, not the Christian first creed of Christianity definition. When you are a witness, that means you have physically experienced something, and you are testifying to that physical experience, not a spiritual witness feeling. You'll get locked up for contempt, as a certain president is in jeopardy of contempt of court. And so, the subtitle, Ancient Findings and a Living Prophet and Apostle Help Deepen Understanding, says Richard Nitzel-Holzapfel. Again, no German experience. So it starts off with the 2025 Easter message of the First Presidency to Ellen H. Oaks, death threat, number 5, to Mormons. Actually, it's number 4. Yeah, it's number 4. Number 4, death threat. In which, did you study it? Did you go to the scriptures that they put in? You didn't, did you? God. Bunch of incompetence. You claim to be Mormon and you won't even bother to do your study on these guys. Death threat. This is a death cult you're in. Surprise! They're going to murder you for Easter. The First Presidency in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wrote that the resurrection of Jesus Christ is a gift. Church President Russell M. Nelson has invited Latter-day Saints to do more than simply celebrate this sacred event. They can remember the great love that made it possible. And then they're advertising. At this time of year, Brigham Young University Emeritus Professor Richard Nitzel-Holzapfel, box that one, often thinks about New Testament scholar N.T. Wright, who said, again, none of these guys have credentials. And so, yeah, we're about to get to his in a second, where I will then remind you of Oaks, explaining to you that this is all crap and you shouldn't listen to any of this. This is our greatest festival. Take Christmas away, and in biblical terms, you lose 2 chapters at the front of Matthew and Luke. Nothing else. Because of the first creed of Christianity, not the Jews who wrote it. Dear God, this is pure Christian hatred. Take Easter away and you don't have a New Testament. It's supposed to be Passover. Dumbass. See, they're not qualified. They don't know the subject matter. You know, a woman in the Mormon church can have the same credentials as this nutcase. Holzapfel attended Hebrew Union College as a graduate student, taught at the BYU Jerusalem Center for Near Eastern Studies that after the first presidency message, after October 7th, 2023, had to close down and flee the country for their lives. As the Jew rabbi here in Utah condemned the first presidency message, as he thought that they were friends. Oops! Friends don't betray friends to claim to be friends. Has written many books regarding history and the life of Jesus Christ. Yeah, fiction. He's a fiction writer. He is not qualified. He does not know science. He is a former mission president. Well, again, not a qualification. And Area 70, still not a qualification for science. And so yes, this is where Oaks comes in. You don't listen to somebody who is not an expert in the particular field. You believe Oaks, don't you? So apply it in your daily life. None of these guys are legitimate. This is all fake. This is all fraudulent. This is all a con. Oaks said so. Don't you believe him? In the field of science, you gather evidence. Remember? Physical. Then you go through the evidence and you look for patterns. And when you identify anomalies, you then use logical Socratic methodology, not fallacy, to produce a theory. That theory must be scientifically tested immediately, not hypothetically if certain conditions were met. You know, like, oh, well, the Book of Mormon golden plates would prove to be true as Joseph Smith translated it, you know, but Moroni took the plates. And then you've got to get 3 confirmations from separate tests. Not doing the same test over and over again. See, oh, it's true. Oh, see, it's true. See, it's still true. Separate tests. Confirmed true. To establish fact, which is truth. And when the test can be run numerous times, from numerous ways, repeatedly, getting confirmation each and every single time, you have now established eternal law of truth, the laws of physics that are even math provable. And so yes, by knowing this, by being the expert in the field, I'm here to tell you the church ain't true. They're lying to you. And so the start of Holy Week, wrong. There was no Holy Week. It's Passover by the Jewish author of Matthew. Jesus' arrival in Jerusalem is the New Jerusalem prophecy of the Jewish Christ, having conquered the great and abominable church of Jesus Christ. And that's why it's called Palm Sunday. Oh my hell. He said, New Testament scholars, again, you can't use people who are not experts in the field to claim that your case is true. That's a fallacy argument. You just lost. You're wrong automatically before you even get to your conclusion. And then he even name drops them. Have suggested that it is most likely, not scientific terminology. Could be. Maybe. The pilot came to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday also. Oh my God. You need to provide us with a date. They're not giving you a date, are they? Because if with a date, we can then go and check. And so, most people therefore believe it's 34 CE. Even though the church has Nibley, who claims it was 1 BC. Let's see, let's get to the Jewish calendar. It's all 34. Oh, sorry, Mormons, not Jesus' birthday that year. It was the evening of the 21st, not even on Sunday. That was Wednesday. Wednesday to Wednesday. Oops. Do you see how science destroys Christianity? And so let's go back in time to see if we can find, okay, the evening of Friday, so nope, not 33, not 32, not 31, not 30. Oh, there we go, finally, 29. Oops. Which places the birth of Jesus, literal history in Roman period time, to, crap, I gotta do math. There's no 0 here, and so 1 is 30, 2 is 31, 3 is 32, 4 is 34. Did I screw that up, or is that 33? I think that's 33. See, I can't do math in my head. And so, either way, if it's 34 or 33, which it'd have to be 4 with the 33, Herod the Great died in 4 BCE. So we've got some problems already simply by checking history fact. Coming from the coast, Pilate would have. No, that is not science. You don't do would haves, could have, maybe, possibly. That is not science. That is fiction. You're making stuff up. You're trying to prove that the first creed of Christianity is true. That the Jewish authors were wrong. Meanwhile, Jesus was coming from the east, from the Mount of Olives, to enter the holy city. do not know the learning of the Jews. This guy's a dumbass. But again, as a Mormon, he also not only has to confirm the first creed of Christianity true, but the living prophets of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints true. Because heaven forbid that a Mormon should actually do their study, use science and logic, and learn that the church is a fraud. God, this is taking too long. And so Friday, today, Jerusalem was destroyed after Jewish revolts in AD 66 and 70. Yeah, you're not going to talk about 9th Ave, are you? And then the Bar Kokhba revolt in 133. That was, man. Just a horrifying nightmare to what the Romans did to the Jews. Which again, if he was actually an expert in the field, he would realize Jesus cannot be true because Jesus failed to save the Jews who were utterly destroyed. You can't have a savior who fails, is murdered, and the Jews are utterly destroyed. Kind of defeats the purpose of the reinterpretation of the Jewish authors. See, again, they're saying 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon. They're assuming the 29th. They're not saying the 29th. They're most likely going to leave that out because the church says 1 CE, April 6th is when he was born. Unless it's Hugh Nibley for BC. Or is it Talmage? I think it's Talmage from what I read about that. In his Jesus Christ book. I think he says it's Talmage who says 1 BC. Still wrong. We already checked. It can't be 1 BCE. Jesus Christ was then buried in a tomb before evening. And so what this is actually doing, if the scriptures actually said Friday, which I don't think they do, although they would refer to the Sabbath, which is why they would claim this. But, like I said, Palm Sunday is not part of the week, which is why they screw it all up. But for the death on Friday and then the resurrection on Sunday, yeah, that is in Scripture. And as I went over with you, it ain't anybody's guess. I just went over it with you. It was only in 29 CE. That was it. I mean, we can go forward from 34, check 35, go to 30 or 40. $35. Okay, nope. 36. No. So close. Actually, 36. Friday night. Because it's the Sabbath. Yeah, it would be Friday. Yeah, this would be. So it's not the 29th. So the 36th works. So let's go back and check those previous ones. Okay, 33 does work. That's why they're saying 33. That's okay. See, I have to correct myself. I can't do the math in my head. Can't do it. So yes, 33 does work. But that means it was 1 BC. That means Talmage is correct. However, John in Revelation chapter 12 gives you a sign in the heavens for the birth that Catholics allowed Revelation to be published in their Bible, even though I don't think Catholics were created around then yet. It was still the Holy Roman Empire. And so by allowing it to be published with the rest of the scriptures that they approved of because of the first creed of Christianity, you now have them making the claim for 1 BC, so that Jesus is 33. And that's why. Because the calendar, Friday night, he dies. And so that starts the Sabbath. So that the 5th, still not Jesus' birthday for Mormons. Let's check the other one. 36, was it? Yep. Oh, 6th is Resurrection Day, but it's Friday. See, again, it doesn't work because it's not Sunday to Sunday. That's where the problem is the Jews are not talking about Sunday when they say Sabbath. That's why I was using the other Sabbath as Sunday. See how Constantine screwed it up by turning Sabbath into Sunday? It's the Jewish Sabbath, so it's not Sunday to Sunday. And so the 29th doesn't work either. We don't have an actual date. God, I'm wasting my time because I didn't do my research before. And it looks like the video is done. Oh, dear God. So yeah, we're just ending here because this should give you more than enough to realize that this cannot be true. And so, as I type out Dallen's prophecy, which I really don't need to do this, but we're done. Church is false. Get over it.